Soft, emotional music fades in warm, calm female voice. My name is Anna, and yes, I have 4 children. When people meet me for the first time, they usually smile politely. Then they look again, and then they ask the same question every single time. How do you stay slim? 4 kids. Seriously? What's your secret? Sometimes they whisper it. Sometimes they laugh. Sometimes they look at me like I'm hiding something magical. And today, I want to tell you the truth. Short pause. Music softens. There was no magic, no miracle diet, no perfect body after childbirth. After every pregnancy, I gained weight. Every single time. After my first child, I remember standing in front of the mirror late at night. The house was finally quiet. My baby was asleep, and I didn't recognize myself. My body felt heavy. My face looked tired. My clothes didn't fit anymore. I cried, not loudly, just silently, so no one would hear me. Breath pause. After my second child, it was harder. I was older, more tired, less confident. I told myself, this is just how it is now. I'm a mom. I should stop worrying about myself. But deep inside, I didn't want to give up. Gentle music rises after my third pregnancy. The wait stayed longer. I tried to ignore it. I tried to joke about it. But every time I climbed the stairs, every time I looked at photos, I felt like I was losing myself. And after my fourth child, I won't lie, that was the hardest moment of all. Pause. Silence for one beat. 4 kids. No sleep. No time. No energy. I remember thinking, how can I take care of everyone if I don't even recognize myself anymore? That was the moment everything changed. Music shifts. Hopeful tone. I didn't wake up one morning thin and motivated. I didn't suddenly love workouts or salads. What I did was make one small decision. I decided not to punish myself, but to take responsibility for myself. Short pause. I didn't start with extreme diets. I didn't starve. I didn't chase fast results. I started with honesty. I admitted something very important to myself. I can be a loving mother and still care about my body. These two things are not enemies. Warm background music. I started slowly. Very slowly. I walked more, even if it was just around the block with a stroller. Even if it was raining. Even if I was exhausted. I drank more water. I ate real food. Not perfect food, real food. Some days I failed. Some days I ate too much. Some days I skipped everything. But I always came back. And that became my real secret. Soft pause. But here's the part people don't see. I didn't do it alone. Music softens emotionally. My husband was there, not judging, not pushing, not telling me what I should look like. He helped with the kids. He held the baby when I needed a break. He reminded me to rest. Sometimes he just looked at me and said, I'm proud of you. And that was enough to keep going. Short, emotional pause. My parents helped. My family helped. They took the kids when I needed time. They cooked. They listened. They gave me something priceless: energy, strength, and hope. Because when you're not drowning, you finally have the strength to swim. Music builds gently, little by little. I felt myself coming back. Not the old me, a new one, stronger, calmer, more patient. And then, something unexpected happened. I rediscovered my favorite hobby, baking. Light, cozy music appears. I always loved baking cakes, even before kids. The smell of vanilla, warm chocolate, fresh cream. For me, baking was never about calories. It was about joy. One day, a friend asked me to bake a cake for her birthday. Then another friend. Then a friend of a friend. Suddenly, people started ordering my cakes. It became my little world. my creative space, my therapy. Pause. Some people laugh when they hear this. She stays slim and bakes cakes? Yes, exactly. Because balance is not about restriction, it's about respect. Music fades slowly. I respect my body. I respect my limits. And I respect the people who helped me stand back up. And today, when I look at my children, when I look at my husband, when I look at my life, I don't see perfection. I see support. I see love. And I see strength. Gentle pause, and that is the real secret. Music holds. Soft rhythmic music resumes. Calm, confident female voice. People often think that once you decide to change, everything becomes easy. It doesn't. There were mornings when I didn't want to get out of bed, not because of laziness, because of exhaustion. 4 kids don't wait. They cry. They laugh. They need you. All the time. Some days I chose myself. Some days I chose survival. And I learned something important. Both are okay. Short pause. There were weeks when the scale didn't move. There were weeks when it went up. I used to panic. I used to blame myself. But then I stopped fighting numbers. I started listening to my body instead. Music softens. I noticed how food made me feel. Heavy, light, energized, tired. I noticed how sleep changed everything. How stress stayed in my body longer than any dessert ever could. And I stopped asking, how fast can I lose weight? I started asking, how can I live like this for years? Gentle pause. That question changed everything. I stopped chasing perfection. I chose consistency. I didn't work out every day, but I moved often. I didn't eat perfectly, but I ate mindfully. And when I fell off track, I didn't quit. I returned. Soft music transition. There were moments when I felt guilty. Guilty for taking time for myself. Guilty for enjoying silence. Guilty for feeling proud. But my husband once said something that stayed with me forever. If you disappear, we all lose. Pause. Emotional beat. He was right. My children don't need a perfect mother. They need a present one. A mother with energy, with dreams, with joy. Music becomes warmer, and baking gave me that joy. When I bake, I don't rush. I measure, I decorate, I create. It reminds me that good things take time, just like healing, just like change. Sometimes I bake late at night. The house is quiet. The oven is warm. It's my moment. Soft pause. People see the cakes. They don't see the journey. They don't see the nights of doubt, the tears, the restarts. They don't see the support system behind me. And I will never stop being grateful for it. Music gently rises because strength doesn't grow in isolation. It grows in love. And today, when someone asks me, how do you stay slim with 4 kids? I smile, because now I know the answer. It's not discipline alone. It's not genetics. It's not sacrifice. It's support. It's patience. And it's choosing yourself again and again. Pause. And when I shared my story on stage, when I saw Steve Harvey smiling, listening, nodding, I realized something. My story wasn't about weight. It was about resilience. Music holds softly, soft spotlight music, quiet audience ambience underneath. Standing on that stage felt unreal. The lights were bright. My hands were shaking. And for a moment, I wanted to run. I looked at the audience. Strangers, faces, stories I didn't know. And then I saw him, Steve Harvey. He was smiling, that warm, familiar smile. Not the kind that judges, the kind that listens. Short pause, I started talking. I didn't talk about calories. I didn't talk about workouts. I talked about motherhood, about losing yourself and finding your way back. Soft, emotional music enters. I talked about my pregnancies, about the weight that came every time, about the fear that this version of me was permanent. I talked about standing in front of the mirror, about not recognizing my own reflection, and I talked about the moment I decided not to disappear. Pause. The room was quiet, too quiet, and then Steve leaned forward and said something I will never forget. "So what really saved you?" I took a breath, and I told the truth. My family. Music swells gently. I talked about my husband, about how he never pressured me, about how he showed up when I was tired. I talked about my parents, about how they held my children so I could hold myself together. And I said something that made my voice break. I didn't become strong alone. Pause. Emotional beat. The audience felt it. You could feel it in the silence, in the air. Steve nodded slowly. "That's it," he said. "That's the part people forget." Soft music. He smiled at me and said, "You didn't just lose weight. You built a life that supports you." And suddenly, it wasn't about being slim anymore. It was about being seen. Short pause. I realized how many women were listening. How many mothers felt the same guilt, the same exhaustion. How many of them thought they had to choose family or self, love or ambition, care or dreams. But you don't. Music becomes hopeful. You can have support. You can ask for help. You can grow without apologizing. When I finished speaking, Steve stood up. He applauded, not loudly, but sincerely. And in that moment, I felt proud, not of my body, of my journey. Music fades slowly. Warm, slow piano begins. Soft, reflective tone. Motherhood teaches you many things. Not all of them are gentle. It teaches you how to function without sleep, how to give when you have nothing left, how to smile while holding back tears. But it also teaches you something deeper, that you matter. Short pause. For a long time, I thought being a good mother meant forgetting about myself, putting myself last, always. I believed that caring for my body was selfish, that wanting to feel beautiful was unnecessary. But I was wrong. Music continues softly, because when I ignored myself, I became impatient, tired, disconnected, and my children felt it. They didn't need more sacrifice. They needed more presence. Pause. So I changed the way I spoke to myself. I stopped saying, "I don't have time." I started saying, "I deserve time." Even if it was just 10 minutes. Even if it was imperfect. Soft music shift, I learned to rest without guilt, to eat without fear, to move without punishment. I learned that health is not about control. It's about care. Pause and gratitude became part of my routine. Every day, I thank my husband, not because he helps me, but because we are a team. Every day, I thank my family, because raising children was never meant to be done alone. And every day, I thank myself for not giving up. Music grows warmer. When people see my life now, they see balance. But balance didn't appear by accident. It was built with support, with honesty, with patience, and with love. Gentle pause. My children see me bake cakes. They see me laugh. They see me take care of myself. And without saying a word, they learn that taking care of yourself is normal, that asking for help is strength, that joy matters. Music softens. This is what staying slim really means to me now. Not a number, not a shape, but a life that feels light. Gentle, uplifting music begins. Confident, warm female voice. If you're watching this and thinking, "I could never do that," I want you to hear me clearly. I thought the same thing. Short pause. I wasn't born disciplined. I wasn't always confident. I wasn't always strong. I was tired. I was overwhelmed. I was afraid of losing myself forever. And still, I found my way back. Music slowly rises, not by becoming someone else, but by returning to myself. I didn't fight my body. I listened to it. I didn't punish myself for changing. I honored what I had been through. 4 pregnancies, 4 births, 4 lives I brought into this world. That deserves respect. Pause. Emotional beat. So when people ask me now, how do you stay slim with 4 kids? I tell them this. I stay supported. I stay patient. I stay kind to myself. And I stay grateful. Soft music. Grateful for my husband. Grateful for my family. Grateful for the strength I didn't know I had. And yes, I bake cakes, beautiful cakes, sweet cakes, because joy has a place in a healthy life. Small pause, Steve Harvey once said something that made me smile. Happiness looks good on you. And he was right. Because confidence doesn't come from weight loss. It comes from peace. Music becomes warm and full. If you're a mother watching this, if you feel lost, if you think it's too late, it's not. You're allowed to care about yourself. You're allowed to ask for help. You're allowed to shine, not despite being a mother, but because of it. Final pause. This is my story, and if it helps even one woman believe in herself again, then every step was worth it. Music gently fades out,